Welcome back. At the age of 16 years, after participating in a school drama production, Durban-born vocalist Nanette Mbili was encouraged to consider singing professionally. In the midst of a global pandemic, Nanette worked on her debut album, Bad Weather. Her musical palette was formed when she was younger by listening to Nina Simone, Beyonce and Etta James. This helped her create sound and style. She joins us now in studio to talk more about her musical journey and believes that writing music is a therapeutic process. And this further explains her preference for R&B. Nanette, a very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Good morning to you. It's an absolute honor to be here.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's good to have you. It's good to have you join us this morning.
Yes, it's crazy. I grew up watching this show. I just tweeted that I used to sit and watch this before I used to go to school. And now I'm here.
Oh, wow.
Which is crazy.
Look at you seeing your dream unfold.
Literally, before my eyes.
Before your eyes,
before
right?
Before my eyes.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
Great
Thank you so
stuff.
much. Thank you.
So you started your musical career back when you were 16, right?
Yes.
Just take us through what was happening at the time and why you chose music.
So I'm 16 years old, and at the time I'm obviously in high school. I went to high school in Port Elizabeth, and I was a very active thespian in my school and in the community, and I used to love doing musicals. So I would pick a musical and then I'd end up singing on stage anyway.
Okay.
So every time I would do a theater production and I'd have a role where I sang, I'd always get feedback where people would be like, you should really consider music.
Right,
and I'd be like, I'm more of a thespian, but like, thanks, okay, And then fast forward to the end of my matric year in 2018? No, 2019 actually.
Yeah.
In 2019, end of my matric year, I decided that I was gonna apply to Wits and come to Joburg to study, but like also with the purpose of pursuing a music career.
Okay.
So yeah, I did get into Wits, thankfully, and I started my music career in my first year in 2020, which also became the first year of COVID lockdown.
Yes.
So yeah, and from there it was a thing of figuring out what I wanted to sound like, figuring out what journey I wanted to take musically, and then I ended up signing in 2021 to Universal, and my journey sort of just flourished from there.
Okay, so in your quest to figure out how you want to sound or how you want to, push your musical career, what conclusion did you arrive at in terms of choosing the genre that you wanted to focus on?
I am such a soulful person. I am very soulful. So R&B and soul was so natural for me to do as a sound.
Okay.
But I think that I reached a point after, the amapiano music and all the other types of sounds that I've been experimenting with, where I was like, I just enjoy music.
Yes.
So my sound is anything that heals and anything that feels good.
Right.
That's where I'm at. That's my sound.
Yeah, and you're fairly young, and you're pretty much, I would say, new in the musical industry here in South Africa. So what is it about you and about your musical journey that makes you want to, wake up every single day and do what you love?
Wow. Passion and purpose. I think once I figured out that this is definitely my purpose, this has always been something I've loved to do. This has always been something that came naturally to me.
Sure.
It helps me to wake up every day and want to do it and strive towards being a better artist, Also, the support I get from people is so immense, and it's so heartwarming.
That is very key.
It keeps me going. Every time I feel like, maybe I shouldn't be doing music, and then I'll always get a message from someone who explains how my music changed their life, or I'll always get just beautiful interactions with people.
Okay.
Responding to the music and responding to what I have to say, and that's what keeps me going.
Okay. Let's now talk about your first baby, that is Bad Weather.
Yes.
So why Bad Weather?
Growing up, I had a fear of thunderstorms and lightning, but more so, I was raised by my grandmother, who is a nurse, so she's a healthcare provider.
Okay.
And when she used to work night shift when I was pretty young. So I'd always be so scared to be left alone in the house while my granny was on night shift, and there was a thunderstorm during the winter.
Yeah.
And when I grew up, it sort of morphed into a general fear of being alone in the worst types of situations, and a general fear of isolating myself, which is still something that I tend to do, and I think a lot of people tend to do. We tend to isolate ourselves when we're not comfortable with something. Yes. So I wanted to tell a story out of that. I wanted to tell a story out of the fear that I've had to, walk with in my life throughout my entire life. Something to other people that may not seem huge, but to me it's a big deal.
Right.
So Bad Weather was a testimony of my let me say, my adolescence and growing up. It was also a coming of age story. It was definitely my coming of age story, and the inspiration behind Bad Weather was just getting the people to see who I am and to express myself fully. It was, like I said, a therapeutic process. It was actually therapy for me.
And interestingly, you wrote that particular project at the start of the COVID-19, where there was a great deal of uncertainty the world over. Hey?
Yep. It felt wrong for me to even be deciding to do a project, and at the same time there was a lot of times where I didn't know if I was making the right decision, because you did mention that I'm fairly new in the industry, and a lot of artists tend to take the route of like dropping a single or dropping like a smaller body of work before they jump into the debut album. But I just felt the need to tell a story, and I just felt the need to, you know, I've always been a storyteller. I've always known how to make the intro, the conclusion, the body type thing. So I wanted to tell a fully fledged story. It didn't really matter where I was in my career. I just wanted to.
It was so brave of you, though. I mean, as you've mentioned, some artists start off with a single here and there, EP here and there, but you just went full force and dropped an album.
Vuma, inside.
Who did you work with?
The amazing Lee Global, Lindelani Lee, was my executive producer, and he is simply amazing. He's also the great-grandchild of Miriam Makeba, so music just flows in his blood, like in his blood, honey.
And I can tell it flows in your blood as well.
Oh, yes. I love music so much. I also worked with the likes of Batundi, who's produced a couple of Drake records. I worked with the likes of Mars Baby, like all friends who are creatives and are just great people. I had one feature on the album, which was Ida Hams, an excellent artist from Nigeria.
I can't wait to listen to that. I can't wait to listen to that when you perform for us, eh? Great chatting to you.
Thank you so much.
How do you connect with you?
At Officially Nanette on Instagram, Official Nanette on Twitter, and Officially Nanette on TikTok, and Nanette on Facebook.
Nanette, all the best, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Cool stuff. Well, that was a South African R&B sensation, Nanette, speaking to us about her musical journey.